Hey family, how you doing? Random Rants here, just gonna jump right in. This one, I don't know what we're gonna call this. Strange and deadly clothing. That could be something, we'll see. Well, so I just wanted to share with you something that I observed when I was washing my own clothes, is that you'll get say your t-shirt, like this for instance. Say this t-shirt just, sort of came to here by design, right? So it's not right at your wrist or whatever. But after a couple of washes, the fabric stretches out, it loses its density, and it becomes longer and thinner and oftentimes see-through. And this is because it's not real fabric. It's made with, well, I'm trying to be nice about this, but I don't think there's a politically correct way to say this. Byproducts of the petrochemical industry that are considered hazardous materials, or hazmat, that are too expensive to dispose of, so they give it to the so-called clothing industry so that they can create fabrics out of it. So that instead of having some nice linen or hemp or cotton or some other natural fabric touching your skin, you're constantly interfacing with these microscopic, if not nanoscopic, particulate matter, which is a hazardous material. It's hazardous material. And now then also, because this is not real fabric, it's just sort of kind of gluey kind of thing together to make it look like fabric, but not really. So after a few washes, it disintegrates. Well, then you have to wonder, where do all those microplastics go? Well, obviously they go down the tube with the water. And where does that water go? Well, it goes into the water mistreatment facilities that the psychopaths and some of the dumbest people on planet Earth have oversight for. They work in government. That's a prerequisite to work in government. You have to be pretty stupid and psychotic. But then that water gets treated or mistreated with more chemicals and mixed with the gray water and the black water and God knows what else, however else they do it. And then it gets sent out to the sea, because all the water goes to the sea eventually. So if these microplastics that are used to make our clothing breaks down over a period of time and gets flushed out through the washing machine, through the water processing plants, and all the way to the rivers and to the ocean, well then what does it become? It becomes even more smaller, like microplastic, but even more disintegrated, but still nonetheless the essential essence of this toxic hazardous material is still there. It's still a byproduct of the petrochemical industry, of the plastic industry, right? Of all the plastic bottles that they say are being recycled, and they're fucking not, are just ending up out into the sea, where, all the animals of the sea eat this or consume this, because it's everywhere. It's microscopic. It's not like if you're a fish, it's not like if you're like a tuna and you're going to go eat another smaller fish. When you open your mouth, not only is all that stuff going to go in there, but all the microplastics and other toxins that have built up in the fish that he's eating are going to also then be consumed. And then guess who eats the tuna? That's right. So you see how this is a cycle. It's a circle. It's a feedback loop. It's a fractal pattern. It's it's a rant about the pollution of the sacred water and of the sentient life that lives in the seas and the rivers and the lakes. And it's for me, just another observation and another illustration of just another reason why we need to ditch the petrochemical industry. And we can do that. We can do that with something called hemp. So, yeah, I wanted to share that with you and see what you think about that. What's your thoughts on this microplastic and this shit that they call clothing now? I remember, like, it wasn't that long ago, like maybe 25, 30 years ago, I could get a good pair of, like, say, yoga pants, because that's a good example, because they're stretchy material, right? And they would be stretchy, but they would be, there would be some substance to them, some fabric in the material. And so you could wash them again and again. I got one pair of yoga pants I've had for 20 years. And they're just now starting to kind of get a little flimsy. Whereas the yoga pants I've been buying from the last, say, 10, 15 years, they don't last 6 or 7 washes. So I'm just saying, what makes more sense, to have clothing that lasts us a long time, that's not toxic to us wearing them, and not toxic that we're putting into the washing machine. The water is not toxic going into the rivers, the lakes, the streams, the ocean. It's not toxic for the life in the sea. And all of this nonsense has a solution. Every bit of it. If folks would just think outside the box and stop listening to everything that they're told and believing that that's the gospel truth because somebody told you that's the way it is, or because it's been that way for the last, let's see, how long has the petrochemical industry been a cancer on this planet? Well, I want to say, like, it's roughly around 200 years in North America. Not sure down here. Maybe a little less down here. I'm not sure. But how long has humanity been around for? And how did we live before the petrochemical industry hit the scene? So I want to invite you to think about that and to try to remember that. And if you can't tap into that wisdom of the ancestors and how we used to do that, ask your great-great-great-grandmother how she used to, what kind of clothes, what they used for all their needs, for their building materials, for their clothing, for their medicine, for their food. Hemp can provide all of this at the same time that it cleans the air and restores the health of the soil simultaneously. So definitely a lot of much smarter ways of doing things. But if we don't put these ideas out there or even make room for the possibility, then how will they ever otherwise come into our imagination or into our field for us to manifest? Because everything we see here in the mind's eye, everything we believe comes true. Like all the things that we can imagine, whether it's projected into your mind in a Hollywood movie, some dystopian bullshit, or whether it's some of the stuff I'm sharing with you here on this channel, or whether it's some stuff of your own sacred heart and your own sacred imagination. It's there first, and then it's manifested in the reality around us. It's just that simple. So that's my rant on microplastics in the clothing. Stay tuned for the next one. Ciao for now.